students, welcome back to Science World, and if you find this video useful for you, then please like, comment and share with your friends. Also subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to get notification of my upcoming videos. Students, in our last video we have discussed about different types of pollution, that is air pollution, water pollution, land pollution and noise pollution. Today we have another topic for discussion, that is natural calamities. And what are natural calamities? These are the disasters that are caused by nature, and these disasters affect human life. Okay, so we are going to read about different natural calamities or disasters that occur on the earth. So let's start. We will start with the earthquake. An earthquake is the shaking of the surface of the earth due to sudden collision of tectonic plates below the surface of the earth. What are these tectonic plates? These are the massive slabs of solid rock, and they are very huge slabs of rocks, and that range from 100 to 1000 kilometers. They are so huge. Okay, and these disturbances in these tectonic plates, because of this collision of these plates, it causes vibrations. Okay, and these vibrations are spread in all the directions. Okay, and because of this vibrations, these vibrations are felt on the surface of the earth. Okay, different parts of the earth, and we say that it is an earthquake. So actually it is the movement, or we can say the collision of the tectonic plates that are under the earth's surface. Okay, what is seismic zone? There are regions in the world like Himalayas in India, then the edges of the Pacific Ocean, the center of the Atlantic Ocean, and Japan, and also Philippines. These lie in the belt of seismic, or we can say earthquake belt or seismic zone. Okay, and why this is known as seismic zone? Because these areas are prone to earthquakes. Okay, these areas are prone to earthquakes. Frequently these areas are having, or they experience the earthquakes, and that's why they are in the seismic zone. Okay, so seismic zones are the areas that are prone to the earthquakes. Now what is focus and epicenter of the earth? The place of origin of the earthquake is known as focus, and the point above the focus on the earth's surface is known as epicenter. Okay, you can see this diagram here. This is the focus under the surface of the earth. Okay, this is the point where this earthquake originates. Okay, and these circles are there, these are the waves, okay, or the vibrations of the earthquake, and this is the epicenter on the surface of the earth where these vibrations are felt by human beings or other animals. Okay, so this is a focus and epicenter of the earth. Next we have focus and epicenter of an earthquake. Now what is focus? The place of origin of the earthquake is called focus, and it lies under the earth's surface. And what is epicenter? Epicenter is the point above the focus. Epicenter is the point above the focus on the earth's surface. Okay, so you can see in this picture here, this is the focus under the earth's surface, and this is the epicenter above the focus. Okay, now these red circles are there, these are the vibrations that are felt on the earth's surface. Okay, and these vibrations, or we can say waves, these vibrations are felt on the earth's surface by us. Okay, then what is seismograph? An earthquake is measured on Richter scale. जिस स्केल पे ये मेजर किया जाता है earthquake, उसकी इंटेंसिटी, उसका पावर, उसको हम कहते हैं रिक्टर स्केल. ओके, अ सिस्मोमीटर is an instrument that detects the vibrations caused by an earthquake, and then this seismometer, it plots these vibrations on a seismograph. Seismograph is a graph on which these vibrations are plotted by the seismometer. Okay, this seismograph records the duration and intensity of the earthquake. It records duration, means the timing of the earthquake, and intensity means the power or strength of this earthquake. Okay, quakes measuring around 7 to 8 earthquakes that are measuring around 7 to 8 on Richter scale can be devastating, means they are most dangerous. Okay. Then what are the effects of earthquake? The effects of earthquake are terrible and devastating. Devastating means it damages lots of we can say lives. Okay, lots of lives and also the property. Many buildings, hospitals, schools are destroyed due to these earthquakes. Lot of people get injured and killed. Many people lose their life, money and property. It also affects mental and emotional health of the people. Then tsunamis, landslides and breaking and cracking of the rocks, pools and bridges. These are also the effects of earthquake. When this earthquake occurs inside the sea or ocean, okay, under the ocean, then it forms huge waves in the sea or ocean, and we call it tsunamis. Okay. Then landslides are there. So these are the effects of an earthquake. You can see the picture here. This is the seismometer. Okay, seismometer. Then here this vertical seismograph and horizontal seismograph. What to do during an earthquake? See, if you are indoors, then stay there only. Okay, if you are indoors, means if you are inside a house or inside a building, you stay there only. Second, get under a desk or table. Get under a desk or table, or move into hall or against an inside wall. Okay. Then next is stay away from windows, fireplaces and heavy furniture and appliances because they can fall on you. Then number 4, if you are outside, get into an open space. Open space will be safe place for you during an earthquake, and that place should be away from buildings, power lines, chimneys or anything that you. Okay. Number 5, if you are in car, stay inside, still shaking, stop. So these are the some things that you can do during an earthquake. Then what are the major 5 earthquakes in India? Okay, so here is the first one, that is in Bihar. It occurred on 15th January 1934. Over 30,000 people were killed and its intensity was 8.1 on the Richter scale. Then second is Gujarat, January 26, 2001 it occurred. Over 20,000 people were killed and it was of magnitude 7.7 on Richter scale. It occurred in Bhuj district in Gujarat. Then next is in Maharashtra on 15th August 1993 it occurred and over 20,000 people were died, and the place where this earthquake hit was Killari in Latur district, and the magnitude of this earthquake was 6.4 on Richter scale. Then in Assam, Tibet, it occurred on 15 August 1950. Over 1,500 people died and it was of magnitude 8.6 on Richter scale. Then on 20th October 1991 in Uttarkashi, this earthquake was there and over 1,000 people were died and the magnitude of this earthquake was 6.1. So these are the major 5 earthquakes in India. Here you can see the seismic zones in India. This red colored part, they are at very high risk. Then next one, this brown color part you can see here, this is also high risk zone. Then yellow color part is moderate risk and the low risk zone is the blue part of this map. Okay, so these are the earthquake prone areas in India. You can see different pictures here. You can see the crack in the road, then the houses, they collapse due to the earthquake. Here you can see people, animals, they get buried under the homes or the walls that collapse. The next is floods or water flooding. Okay, floods are usually caused by heavy rainfall, but there can be other reasons also, just like collapse of a dam built across a river. It can also cause a flood. Then cyclones and tsunamis. These are also the reasons of floods in coastal areas. Then sudden melting of mountain snow in the mountainous regions. It is also the cause of floods. Due to heavy rainfall, the rivers overflow their banks and the water that spreads surrounding areas, submerging many houses, damaging the crops and buildings. So when there is heavy rainfall, the rivers overflow and the water spreads around the banks. Okay, and many people lose their homes, livestock, and even their lives. Thousands of people become homeless due to these floods. Electricity, transport, and communication links get cut off. You cannot get electricity, or you cannot get any transport system there in the regions where floods are there. Okay, even communication is also cut off from the other parts of the region. So floods, they are also very destructive. You can see the picture here. The water is flowing with a great speed. Here you can see the cars and buses, trucks, they are also in water. These are the flood zones in India. These are the areas that are prone to floods. Drinking water gets contaminated, leading to an outbreak of cholera, typhoid, and diarrhea and malaria. So drinking water that is available in the places of floods, it is contaminated and it may cause cholera, typhoid, or diarrhea. Then there may be the outbreak of malaria also due to the stagnant water. Okay, then many people die due to hunger and diseases. When there is flood, there is no food and water for people, and that's why many people die due to this hunger. Some of the regions in India that are prone to flooding are Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Assam, Odisha, Jharkhand. These states are prone to floods, and the main rivers that flow in these states are Brahmaputra, Ganga, Barak, Damodar, Yamuna, Burehi, and Mahanadi. These rivers get overflooded, and then they spread water on the surrounding places. So these are the states and these are the rivers. Then how rescue operations and help is provided to the people. See, if you want to help these people, those are in the floods. Okay, then you can donate some things like money. You can donate then clothes, food, beddings, water, medicines, first aid kits, tents, mosquito nets, hygiene products, etc. These are the things that you can donate to these people because they need it. Okay, and also you can volunteer in the affected area. You can offer shelter, or you can offer emotional support to the people, those who are suffered from this floods. Okay, so in this way you can help in the rescue operation. You can see here the pictures that are of rescue operations. In this way people are carried to the shelter homes. Okay, and in this whole rescue operations, the military, that is air force and army people, army soldiers, then police and other NGOs and institutions, or we can say social workers, they also help in the rescue operations. Okay, then next is tsunami, or we can say the giant waves. Tsunamis are a series of waves that are caused by underwater earthquakes. I have told you earlier that tsunamis are caused due to the underwater earthquakes, then landslides also, and the volcanic eruptions. These are the reasons of tsunami. Okay, these waves travel at a great speed and cause widespread damages. These waves, they travel at a very high speed. Okay, and because of that they cause damage, that is devastating condition is there, and the situation is out of control when there is tsunami. So damage is whatever damage is there, it is out of control. The tsunami wave can go up to a height of 100 feet. It can go up to 100 feet and can wash away houses, cars and trees and even boulders. Now these boulders are very large rocks. These are very large rocks, and you can see these waves, they can travel up to the speed of 800 km per hour. This is the speed of tsunami waves. The forceful rapid increase in the water levels results in violent flooding. The tsunamis, when they hit to the coastal areas, they spread water in the area, in the coastal area, and then flooding is there, and it attacks the coastlines, causing damage to the property and loss of life. You can see the pictures of tsunamis. These are the waves that are hitting the coastal areas. Here flooding is there, you can see. What is tsunami warning system? The regions with high tsunami risks use tsunami warning system, and this system warns people of the approaching tsunami waves. Okay, means the people, they are warned before the tsunami. Some of these regions which are prone to tsunami are Japan, Chile, Indonesia, China, Sri Lanka and India. These countries are prone to tsunamis. The Pacific Tsunami Warning System is based in Honolulu on Hawaii Islands, and it monitors the seismic activity in the Pacific Ocean. Whatever seismic activities occur inside the or under the earth's surface in the Pacific Ocean, that are monitored by this Pacific Tsunami Warning System. Okay, computers assist in analyzing this tsunami risk of every earthquake that occurs in the Pacific Ocean and adjoining regions. So computers are there with this connected with this tsunami warning system. Okay, and these computers help us to get informed about all the activities under the ocean. The most destructive tsunami in India, it occurred in 2004. The 9.1 magnitude earthquake occurred with an epicenter off the west coast of northern Sumatra, Indonesia, and the death of 2,27,898 people in 4 countries. Okay, so it was a devastating, or we can say destructive tsunamis that occurred in India in 2004. Here you can see the tsunami prone areas all over the world. Red dots, they indicate the serious destruction, then yellow dots, they indicate moderate destruction, and the light color dots, white color, they indicate the light destruction. Okay, so these dots shows the epicenters of the earthquakes that cause the tsunamis. Then here is the tsunami warning system. This recorder on a seabed, it monitors changes in the pressure. Okay, and it can detect the tsunamis as small as 1 centimeter, means very small tsunami waves also it can indicate. Then it is transmitted to here. Okay, here this acoustic link transmits data to moored surface bio. Okay, then from here it is this data is relayed to the satellites, and this satellite transmits this data to the ground station. So in this way this tsunami warning system works. The next is drought. We can say cracked and parched earth. Drought is a condition when there is no rainfall during the monsoon. If there is no rainfall during the monsoon, then there will be a drought. For if this monsoon, or we can say if rainfall is not there during monsoon for many years in succession, means continuous years, if rainfall is then not there, then this leads to the shortage of water in the regions, and it drought occurs. Okay, so many families in the villages, they die due to the hunger, as they cannot grow crops without water. Without crops to sell, the loans that had taken to buy seeds, fertilizers and tractors, these loans, they cannot be repaid, and due to extreme poverty, as many as 30,000 farmers have committed suicide in the last decade. So droughts, they are very destructive, as they are the reasons for these suicides. Okay, and because of the drought, these farmers, they do not have money for growing crops, because water is not there, and as water is not there, crops will be not there, and then whatever these loans that are taken for this farming by these farmers, they cannot repay it, and they die due to hunger. Here you can see the picture of cracked earth due to scarcity of water. Many states in India like Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan, they are prone to droughts. Means droughts are usually occur there, and when a large number of people get affected because of the shortage of food, it leads to famine. Now famine means it is the situation when there is no food for the people. People die due to hunger. Okay, and that is known as famine. Famine leads to severe undernutrition, especially affecting the young children and pregnant women, and this is a public health emergency. Undernutrition weakens the body, and it increases the likelihood of acquiring infections, often leading to the death. Means when there is less food, then the body weakens. Okay, undernutrition will be there, then body becomes very weak, and it cannot fight against the infections, and it leads to death of the people. Then Bengal famine in 1770, Maharashtra famine 1972, these are the famine that occurred due to droughts, and these famine are the reason for death of lakhs of people that time. Drought also leads to depletion in water resources and feed for the livestock. Now livestock are the animals or domesticated animals with the farmers. Okay, and when these farmers do not have food, or they do not have feed and water for these animals also die. Okay, and this is due to the drought and famine. Here you can see the picture of a famine. People are not having food for them. Then here you can see the condition of these people due to hunger. They do not have food. Then these livestock, or we can say these animals, they die due to the shortage of food and water. These are the drought prone areas or regions in India. Red color parts you can see. The next is cyclone or wild winds. Cyclones are the strong winds accompanied by very heavy rainfall that destroys life and property. These are the very strong winds, and usually they are accompanied by a very heavy rainfall. Cyclones are frequent in the coastal regions. You can often see the cyclones in the coastal regions of India and other parts of the world. The coastal areas also get flooded, as the strong winds cause high waves called the tidal waves. So when there is a cyclone, there are high waves in the sea and oceans, and these waves are known as tidal waves. The meteorological department warns the fishermen not to go out into the sea when there is a cyclone. Okay, cyclones are the most destructive natural disaster, most destructive, and that is responsible for about 1.9 million deaths worldwide over the last 2 centuries. That much it is destructive, and it is estimated that 10,000 people are killed each year by these storms. In India or in all over the world, these cyclones are given names so that their study becomes easy. So in India, just a few months back, that cyclone hit in the Arabian Sea. Its name was Nisarga. Then Amphan, Maha, Kyar, Vayu. These are some of the cyclones that hit the Indian coastal areas. Here you can see the satellite picture of cyclone. During cyclone, these winds they blow violently in the circular manner. So in this way you can see here the pictures of these tidal waves, and it also causes the floods. Then what is the prevention, or how you can prevent this, or how you can avoid these cyclones? First thing, wear strong shoes and tough clothing for protection as wind blows with very high speed. Then lock doors, turn off power and gas and water taps. Then leave the place early to avoid flooding and winds. Means you have to move to the safe place before the cyclone hits. In case of storm surge or tide warning or flooding, know your nearest safe high ground. You have to move to the nearest safe high ground and the safest access route to it. You can reach, you find out such a place on a high ground where you can reach easily. Then keep emergency kit with you. Keep a list of emergency phone numbers with you. Tune to your local TV or radio channel as they continuously inform about the cyclones. Then these informations and warnings you can get from the TV or radio channel. Then follow the police and emergency services directions. Whatever instructions are given by the policemen and other service persons like military forces or the air force or any other NGO is there, so you must follow their instructions. These are the cyclone prone areas in India, mainly coastal areas are there. Then this is the emergency kit. There are so many things. You can see here torch, batteries, first aid kit, then medications or medicines, radio, dry food, then sealed water bottles, ropes, knife, chlorine tablet for cleaning water, then stubby shoes and some cash also. So this is the emergency kit. Again you can see one picture here. Here also some useful things are there in the kit. So main thing is your battery should be charged, then first aid box should be there, water bottle should be there, and some dry food should be there. Then next is volcano. What is volcano? It is a vent or an opening. Volcano is a opening and it is usually in the circular form like this. Okay, and this opening is on the surface of the earth or the crust. This vent allows hot magma. What is magma? Magma is the molten rocks inside the earth. Okay, so this opening or this vent, it allows hot magma, volcanic ash and gases to escape from the extremely hot interior of the earth. So when there is the volcano eruption, lots of gases and ash, it comes out of that hole, or you can say opening or vent with the volcanic or magma we can say. So this magma comes out with ash, gases and lots of heat, because we know that in the earth, under the earth, okay, inside the earth, it is very hot because the rocks are in the molten form. This molten magma which flows out through the vent is called lava, and after the volcano has erupted, this lava cools down and it forms bowl shaped hollow called the crater, and this lava, it spreads over the surrounding area and then it cools down and forms the rocks. Here you can see the picture of eruption of a volcano. Here this is molten lava, red color lava you can see. Volcanoes are found mostly around the edges of Pacific Ocean. This huge band is shaped like a horseshoe. हॉर्स के शू के जैसा इसका शेप है इस एरिया का, and this is known as ring of fire. This region has about 452 volcanoes, and 70% of the world's active and dormant volcanoes lie here. So the volcanoes that you can see here in the area which is called Ring of Fire, you can see 452 volcanoes here, and many of them are active and some are dormant. So this is the map that is showing the Ring of Fire. So this is the area, the edges of Pacific Ocean. This area is known as edges of Pacific Ocean, a ring of fire. This red color you can see here on the map, these are the volcano prone areas, or volcanoes are here. Volcanoes are of three types: inactive or dormant volcano, means the volcanoes that can remain inactive or dormant for hundreds or thousands of years before erupting again. For example, Mount Fuji in Japan. So these volcanoes remain inactive for many hundreds or thousands of years. So this is the mountain Fuji in Japan. Then extinct volcanoes are there. These are the volcanoes once they has been dormant for more than 10,000 years, it is termed as extinct. Means after if it is dormant or it is inactive for 10,000 years, then it is extinct. For example, Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa and Mount Popa in Myanmar. Look at the picture here. This is Mount Kilimanjaro. This is the Mount Popa in Myanmar. Then there are some active volcanoes like that they erupts often and leads to destruction. Oftenly they get erupted and they cause destruction. Examples include Mount Erebus in Antarctica and barren islands of Andaman and Nicobar Islands in India. These volcanoes constantly eject lava, hot gases, ashes and rocks, and that's why they are active volcanoes. This is the Mount Erebus crater in Antarctica, bowl shaped crater caused by volcano Mount Erebus. Then this is the barren island, and this is the volcano on it. It is in the Andaman Nicobar Islands. So here is one quotation. We will end this video with this quotation. Even with all our technology and the inventions that make modern life so much easier than it once was, it takes just one big natural disaster to wipe all that away and remind us that here on the earth we are still at the mercy of nature, and that's why we have to respect our Mother Earth and try to save all the natural resources that we get from the earth. Okay, and see that we will harm less. Okay, and while using all the natural resources that are given by the nature, we must remember that Mother Earth, it took lots of years or millions of years to form these all the natural resources and whatever natural things are there on the earth. So one natural disaster can wipe all the means all the things. Okay, wipe away all the things, and that's why we must respect our Mother Earth and we should take care of it. So here we will stop. We'll meet again in our next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Thank you for watching this video.